Hello and welcome to Even Footnotes, a nerdy book club with
A
us.
nerdy book club.
Some nerds.
Who read books.
Who read books. And
In a
actually,
club.
sup nerds, that's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
So this month we read Equal Rites by Terry Pratchett. Oh man, all of us have different covers.
We all have different versions. How fun is that?
So this is a book that is ostensibly about a wizard who knows that his death is approaching, goes to find the eighth son of an eighth son, because that is the magic way to know that a wizard will be powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Gives this child a staff and then immediately finds out that, oh no, he's made the worst mistake ever. This child is a girl. And then immediately kicks it.
But girls can't be wizards.
Yeah. So in the disc world, women can be witches. And men can be wizards. And nary the two shall meet.
No.
The magic is completely different.
Right.
Cats and dogs living together.
Mass hysteria.
Yeah. No, it's not a seventh son.
No, it's an eighth.
Eighth son
Yeah.
of an eighth son.
It's that extra. It's that
on
extra.
Discworld,
son.
Eighth is way better than seventh.
Seventh is so prosaic. It's been done. The main character of the book is actually Granny Esme Weatherwax, who is a witch, well established in her community.
Badass.
The town of Badass, yeah. Which was actually, I believe, in one of the books, you find out it's named after an ill-tempered donkey. Like that was the reason they stayed.
Yeah.
Because the donkey wouldn't go any further, so they decided that's where we'll settle the town here because the badass won't move.
I mean, that makes
perfect sense. Yeah, right. But she takes Esk, who is the young girl who should be a witch, but is
a wizard.
Under her wing to try to train her as a wizard or as a witch. But she realizes that whatever is inside of Esk is wizard magic. And so the book is her trying to get Esk into the Academy of Magic, the Unseen Academy, which is where all the wizards train.
Yep.
Yep. And hijinks ensue because it's Terry Pratchett. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So question, is it clear that she has wizard magic?
The magic all comes from the same source. It's how it's interpreted and used. But
Alana,
society has decided. Yeah.
Alana's got I'm ready to go face.
Yeah.
So basically there's like witchcraft is more like ideology, and what she calls it headology. So it's about convincing people that they are getting better, or convincing a person that you're doing the magic, and then they make the magic happen, basically, from that point on. And then wizardry comes from like a source, kind of. Or then wizardry is like forcing things into like doing things, like willing things to happen the way you want them to, and like knowledge, more book knowledge, less nature. And it's basically forcing, like there's a part where Esk forces her will onto a bird, and that's like the wrong way to do it, and she gets trapped in the bird. So like there's always these repercussions for wizardry magic and all that.
Yeah. So, and I think that this is where you were going with that, is that I think that Esk has neither witch nor wizard magic and has her own magic that's her own thing. And that's I mean, and obviously I've read this book twice now. I think Alana has read it at least twice, right? 3 times. Jason, it was your first read?
This is like one of the 2 or 3 that I had, Terry Pratchett, that I hadn't read yet. So yeah.
Oh, wild.
I know, right? Just kind of snuck up there. Yeah.
But I felt so, and also we're coming up on trans rights readathon, right? And I thought that this would be a good lead into it. This is obviously a commentary on gender, but as I was reading it, I read it entirely as an allegory for non-binary. And like probably or like Pratchett would not have had the words, right? Like it is
Right.
not.
No, this came out in what, 86, 87,
80s?
something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
87, 86?
87,
Somewhere.
yeah. Yep.
87. Okay. So, you know, maybe the words weren't there, but it's a really interesting, the whole time is Granny's trying to tell her, you know, you just have to convince things that want to do yours. The wizards are doing weird stuff and she doesn't jive with them either. Like it's not her kind of how would you even say that? Non-biogory. Thank you, Rick. Just a they them causing mayhem in our comments.
Oof, they them mayhem. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, so I felt like constantly we were told how things should be on either side, and that Esk did not fall into that either way. Also, Esk was so young too. Like she's at 9.
She's 9, yeah.
Not sure if she like aged up at all during the story, or she's like 9 throughout the whole story.
I think she's 9 throughout the whole story.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, pretty much. I think they say, you know, she spends maybe about a year or so living with Granny Esme, just learning witch stuff. But yeah, by the time she gets to the university, she's 9. Yeah, she's a kid.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's when she mentions it.
And the way she goes about getting into the university is she goes in to be a cleaner because that's the only way she can go in. And she can go around and look around as much as she wants because her wizard staff that she's had since she was born does all the work for her. The dirt runs away from her.
But she learns, she tries to get into the academy initially. The way that apparently everybody does is that you throw magic at the door, and that's like how you show you're a wizard. And it doesn't work for her. So I think that's when she starts to realize, oh, I'm not either of these things. Like I'm not a wizard either, you know, because witch magic doesn't quite work for her. You know, she can't quite wrap her head around the headology, or she doesn't. And I think a part of that, and I might be reading too much into this, and I probably am, feels like she's on the spectrum. Like she feels like she doesn't seem like she grasps emotions, maybe or social cues. And I don't know if that's necessarily because she's 9, but she's very smart. She's very precocious. Like she's obviously a genius child. But a lot of what Granny was trying to teach her was psychology, was social engineering. It was making people, you know, and she couldn't quite grasp that. But the magical part of things that she picked up on very quickly, the theory behind it. So it kind of felt like she was just one of those genius kids who might be autistic, might be on the spectrum. They're really focused and really great on whatever they find interesting, but they miss a lot of those social cues. But again, I don't know. This is 1987. I don't know if that would have been something that would have been in the.
I mean, autism was
zeitgeist
definitely
either.
Yeah, but I feel like at that time you would have had like autism as we know it now and autism as understood back then was a completely different thing. Very different.
Right.
And
maybe that's just a stereotype of genius kids. They were lacking in social graces. Yeah.
I think developmentally it's an interesting point, but I feel like the idea of trying to understand how things work is more in line with a child of that age, like developmentally, than trying to figure out how other people think. That would be a much later stage of development.
Right. Yeah. That is, she's also just 9. Yeah. But because she picked up on the physics of magic so quickly, you forget that she's that age. She's very capable, so.
Yeah,
you forget that she's a child. She's a baby, basically. Yeah.
It's a really fun book. I always enjoy Pratchett. Like, it's a lot of great lines. Just, what do you think, Jason, as this is not one you had read before?
Yeah. I think that by the time I got, by the time I got into the series, I pretty much picked up on stuff in the middle of the Discworld novels, and I went back and read some, and then maybe, just whatever age I was when I started reading them. By the time I started reading the Granny and the Other Witches were already very well developed. They had already been in 3 or 4 books and were pretty. So it was kind of fun to see the origin of the character and to know how she would kind of continue to adapt, because she adapts in the book as well. She throws off a lot of her, this is boys and this is girls and they don't mix. But by the end of the book, she's kind of understood that that's just how people decided that things are, not necessarily the way that they are. So that was very cool, just kind of seeing where his ideas for that character were starting to percolate. And it was neat kind of seeing what the early Discworld was like, because it certainly gets wackier and wackier as the series goes on. Like the ideas get more, the satire and the social commentary gets a lot more sharp and biting too as it goes on.
I thought this was pretty sharp and biting. Yeah. However, I feel like it's more generalized, maybe. Like it gets more pinpointy in later books.
Yeah. I think maybe that's what I mean. And you know what? Just stylistically, the one thing I noticed:
no chapters.
No chapters, and only one footnote.
Was there only one?
There was only one footnote in the book, because I was going through, going, oh, that's it. There it is. That's the one footnote. But later books, every 4 or 5 pages is a footnote.
Yeah.
So chapters are footnotes. Yeah. So that was kind of interesting too. It's like he realized he liked that construct and decided to just keep on using it.
Yeah. This was the first book that wasn't Rincewind.
Yes.
Yeah, Rincewind. Yeah.
This is the first one after Rincewind.
Yeah. So I'm going to be honest with you. I've never read. Somebody told me at some point that I should not start with The Color of Magic, right? No. And so I've never read any. This is the only experience I have with the university. I haven't read those yet. No,
oh, wow.
I haven't read those yet. Yeah.
That's cool.
Somebody told me, they were like, absolutely don't start. And so I kind of started with Death. And then I started, and then I did Witches. And then I've done the Guard.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you haven't done the Professor's Add-on to University, huh? Wow.
I actually this year I have on my list as I want to do the going postal and making money ones. Those are ones I really want to do.
Moist von Lipwig.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I haven't done the university at all. So
yeah,
this is my only little time that it's mentioned, but it's not.
Sure, yeah. No, the university books are great. Like they're all the series and sequences are good. Like I don't think I've ever read a Discworld novel that I didn't like. They're all
same.
They're all delightful. But you've never read any of the university then.
I didn't start reading them until I don't know, a couple years ago. So it's not been that long.
Okay.
That's actually kind of cool. So what did you think of as first impressions of the university?
I thought it's interesting to me that I feel like it's really pompous and but it's almost exactly Granny's pompousness. It's just reversed. Yeah. Like I felt like that was the whole thing of it, is that we're just supposed to be seeing that it's just as silly from either side.
Right.
Yes.
And the whole thing at the end with if magic can give people what they want, not using magic can give you what you need.
Yeah.
And so that becomes Esk's like superpower of magic is not using magic.
Her and Simon, yeah.
Even though like they both have so much magic that it's a really interesting. I think it's so much fun that it's just that both sides are very silly. So, as a character, also Granny, I love her. She's my favorite of all of them always.
Yeah.
Granny Weatherwax. And I actually really like Quadrangle. The guy who's in charge of the university.
Quadrangle. The Arch-Chancellor?
Oh. Yeah. He's from the next town over.
Right.
And all of a sudden, because Granny is a respectable witch and never married, and the wizards don't marry.
Right.
But Quadrangle's like, well, I expect that she has a nice figure.
Under all those, she wears all her clothes at the same time. Yeah.
And one of my favorite lines that Alana and I looked up forever before Alana found it was, the mysterious strata of Granny's underwear that she hides all of her possessions in is so good. Also, I thought it was very apt for a book that is breaking down gender, is that the mysterious strata, the great mysteries of the underwear, like it's kind of like that it's silly and it doesn't make sense. And that's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like gender and sex are different,
are different things.
Concepts. Yeah.
It's also a generational thing too, because the Granny and the Archchancellor and the other wizards are all very old, and they're very straight away. And the two young protagonists, Esk and Simon, who's a young wizard, are both 9-10 years old. So it's
I think Simon's supposed to be older. I thought he was like a teen.
Okay. Oh, well, all right. So however, he's not as old as
No. He's still young, and he only got in because he's so smart,
right?
And has figured out magic on his own.
But he's incapable of
casting
controlling
anything.
it. Yeah. He can suck in so much power that it awakes the elder gods who are trying to break into Discworld. Yeah.
Their reality, because when they use magic, it catches their attention.
Yep. It's funny. Esk shows up in one more novel and one more Terry Pratchett book. One of the Tiffany Aching books. Can't think of the name of it, but she's grown up. She's gotten married. She's got a couple kids. She became a brilliant magical theoreticist. So it was kind of nice to see her pop up again, or to see where she came from. Because when I read the one where she grows up, I didn't know I didn't get the reference. I didn't know what the character was. So it was kind of fun saying, "Oh, she's all right. Okay, this is the little girl from, or this was the woman from way back when, who helped out the young witch 40 books from now." Yeah. So I like when he revisits kind of side characters like that. Yeah.
What about for? I was gonna say. So Alana, like, how is it revisiting the book several times? Like, what have you gotten differently out of it?
I don't know. Each read, I get very entertained by it every time I read it. So sometimes I forget that I'm reading it for like analyzing or whatever. I'll just start enjoying it too much, and then I really like Terry Pratchett. Basically, that's what it comes down to. But yeah, I do enjoy.
I mean, it is very laugh out loud at times. Like there are great one-liners all the time. Always hits.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just find it very enjoyable. I find like because I first read this one, I don't even know how long ago, but I first read it like way back when, and it was like a different perspective just being younger, I suppose, like maybe not getting all the nuance and all that, but now it's a lot more like fun because you get to find these new gems of nuance and like enjoy the story even more than you did before, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, how about for you, Aaryn? Same question.
Revisiting, I feel like the first time I was way more just entertained, and I was noticing more of it as an allegory. Now, like I said, it's not been that long since I first read this one.
Right.
Like maybe a couple of years, like 2 or 3. Like it's really somehow in my house growing up, the 3 Terrys of middling, good, and bad. I read lots of the middling Terry. My household was a Terry Brooks family, and I just didn't really know. That's the middling Terry, not the bad Terry.
So is Terry good kind the bad Terry?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
There's too many Terrys.
Well, that's why you have to know which Terry is the good, the bad, and the middling.
Right.
But yes, I've read Terry.
I've read a lot of all 3 of them.
Terry Goodkind is definitely the worst.
Oh, he's awful. Yeah. Why did I read that whole damn series?
Because you were a young boy.
Because I was 13, 14 years old, and that's the perfect age to read. Yeah.
And they were writing. He was writing "Girls Just for You."
Yeah, it was
the fantasy of hot magic girls.
Every Everyone was a hot magic girl in that book.
Yeah.
There was one dude with a sword and a bunch of hot magic chicks all over the place.
Yeah. And
By
they
the end,
all just loved him
They
so
loved
much. He was
him.
the best.
They loved him. And
It was all wish fulfillment. But in high school, I had boys telling me,
Yep.
yeah, they were telling me, you have to read this. And I read the first one and I was like, oh my gosh, it's terrible.
I gotta read another one.
Yeah. Nope. That was it for me. The
Now,
wizard's first rule and done.
Sword of Truth. Yep.
Yeah.
Now, Hot Magical Girls is subversive. Like that's we've gone 180.
Definitely.
Actually,
It's not wish fulfillment because they're not interested in the guy with the sword anymore.
Definitely not.
twist.
They're interested in the other hot magical.
They're interested in the other hot magic girls. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. All sapphic hot magical girls. That's what we need.
There we go.
Yeah.
One thing that I did kind of like just think of, basically like how Esk kind of goes to her own drumbeat. Basically, nobody's really forcing her in, or they're trying to, but they're not really succeeding, and they always form their own path, kind of thing. And I kind of relate to that a lot, just in my life too, because that's kind of what I've always done. It's like people always want you to go in a certain direction or conform in a certain way, but I've always been like one of those people who just like, I like doing this. This is where I want to go. That's what I'm going to do, kind of thing. So I kind of just thinking about that really related to me and it like resonated with me, I suppose.
You know, it's interesting to me. It also, what I picked out of that though, is maybe kind of as a parent, like, yes, Granny wants to teach her to be a witch, but she doesn't do it for very long. No. She almost immediately folds and is like, this kid isn't meant for this. I got to figure out another way. Packs up, goes 3,000 miles away to Ankh-Morpork and is like, yeah, the next lady over is going to watch my goats. Like, and she, like, I think that is also a great thing that Esk had that parent that was so supportive. And obviously, like, I mean, she was sort of taken in by Granny because her parents couldn't control the magic at all and didn't have like, they're around.
She turned her brother into a pig at one point, didn't she?
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I don't think she unturned him into a pig.
It never says that she turned him back.
Yeah, she's like, well, it fits him. And everybody else is like, well, it fits him. Yeah. And so I think that brother just
happy. Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like, and well, all these things are, and the kind of the wizards make fun of her, especially the wizard Treacle kind of is making her the butt of the joke or completely ignoring her. I think that once stuff is kind of shown, like once they figure stuff out, I mean, Quadrangle is right there with Granny, and like what says there can't be a woman witch. Well, you write the rules, and so I guess I can just write that's not true. Right. That's the law. I'm in charge, so changed.
And that was a big thing in the book too. It's like, who says this? Because who says? Well, everybody. Well, aren't we everybody? Why? Why don't we say it's not the case? I like, and you get a taste of. I love Terry Pratchett's world building. I love when he goes off on a tangent about a side character or side place, and just kind of the one that stuck out to me in this book was the tribe of people that Esk meets on the river barge, who never lie. They always tell the truth. So they realize that they can't trade successfully until somebody lies. So they look for the kid in the village who is the best liar, is the one kid who can lie in the village, and he becomes he's like their official negotiator out to the world. Yeah. Right. Yeah. He's the one who speaks to the rest of the world. And other diplomats are upset because it's what it says about diplomacy. It's like, oh, your diplomat is the only guy who can lie in your village. You think that's what negotiations and diplomacy are? And it's like, Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. So I just the and it doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the book. It was just like he had a thought. He thought, it's like, oh, this would be funny, and he goes off and he throws that little joke in there for a couple of pages, and then he moves on to the next thing. But that's what I always find fascinating. This is a guy.
That's true. They also meet a whole bunch of dwarves.
Yeah.
And like, can you repair the broom? Not really.
Yeah,
and then you don't hear any more about them for a while.
Right,
you know.
Right. It's like, it's taking the car in the shop. You want it to run, or do you want me to fix it, or do you? Yeah.
Just make it run.
Just make it run. And they're offended. I love it. Yeah. Or the witch that they meet in the city, who's like the absolute opposite of Granny Weatherwax. Yeah. She's all pinked out. She's she's telling fortunes. She's playing into the crystal ball thing. I thought that was very, but once the people are gone, then they're just a couple of ladies doing their job. They're just, but based on where they are, they've accepted. When we're in the Ramtop Mountains in the city of Badass, my job as a witch is to wear this funny hat and all dark clothes and to sternly growl at everyone. If I'm in the city, my costume is this pink get up with lots of scarves, and I sell, boner pills to rich
potions,
guys. Yeah. So I thought that was, just little stuff like that he's very, Pratchett was always very kind of aware of the silliness in society that we don't really pay attention to, because it's on the fringes of where our focus is, of our everyday lives. So those little jokes, those little twists are, I always appreciate it. It's like, oh yeah, that is a thing that people do. Yeah. And then you move on to the rest of the story. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Granny would never live in the city, except that when she does, she finds
she loves it.
Quite likes it. And that it doesn't matter if she lives next to the brothel, because good fences make good neighbors.
That's right.
So it's super fun. You're right. There's no I guess I honestly have just not read all of the Discworld books yet, because I kind of want to save them. Like, I don't want to read all of them at once. Like I did with the Robin Hobb books, and then I get burnt out on the last one, and I'm like, nope, I'm never reading it. There were
you didn't try to read
pages.
All of them together, did you? Like all 9 of the fits?
Yeah, of the Elderlings, yes, all 9. And then on the 9th one, I made it halfway through, and I was like, I'm done.
Not at once, man. Yeah. You got to space them out.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah.
But honestly, every time I go into a bookstore, I grab a Pratchett.
Yeah, same. And I think it's just, and the fact that there's not going to be any more coming out just makes me sad every day. But but there are so many books. It'll take you years to get them all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do want to say, Alana listened to it, which I have not listened to this one, but the new Penguin Random House recordings of these books are so good. Yeah. They have like all-star cast. They have great effects. Bill Nighy does all of the footnotes.
It's great.
Indra Varma does all the witch books.
Okay.
They had somebody do Death's voice. It might have been Bill Nighy as well.
No, it's a guy that I would recognize the name. He's got a really deep low voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I don't remember what his name is. I could look it up.
Those out.
They just started putting them out, so
you have to start checking them out. I do like that. I mean, I liked the BBC miniseries that they were doing for a while. I thought those were all a lot of fun too. They did and they did Hogfathers and Color of Magic and Postal were the 3 that I saw, and there might have been a couple others. Yeah,
I think I saw Color of Magic.
Yeah, but those are
and maybe the Hogfather. Yeah.
Did either of you see the short-lived TV show, the Night Watch TV show, the Guards TV show? Yeah,
no,
that came out a couple years ago.
Not good.
Not good. They tried to make it punk and gritty. I don't know why. I couldn't figure out what they were trying to do with it, but it was all the regular characters from the Guard book. So Captain Bimes and Carrot and all of those guys, but they were it was like Tank Girl. How everyone's kind of all tatted
yeah.
and smoking cigs and gruff and gritty. And yeah, we don't care. Yeah, it was just really, it was bad.
think
It was
that
really
would
bad.
work.
It didn't work. That was the thing. It didn't work.
Like,
And
I feel like if somebody got the voice right, like they could make an entire, like they could do it forever. It could be like Star Wars, or not Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It would be like Star Trek, because it would be that long. Like you could do it,
Right.
and you could do a whole series on this one and a whole series on this one, and like things would kind of overlap occasionally, and like
Right.
occasionally death would drop into other things.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But
You could
you
do a
know-
Discworld expanded universe. You know, you could
Yeah.
do the
Straight up.
MCU thing with it. I don't want them to.
you'd have
I don't want Disney to
do
get
it
their
well.
hands on. Yeah,
Oh,
I don't want
God.
Disney to get their hands on Discord.
No. Nope.
Yep.
Big nope.
I don't want Stephen Moffat messing with it. You know, it's like you'd have to have someone who appreciates the material.
Well, and I think that a lot of people really do appreciate the material. I think that a lot of people would be like, I need to make this new and different.
Yeah.
Because like, I feel like that, in that it's that old, it's still so subversive. Like, you don't need to make it better at being subversive.
Right. And I think that's what it was. They were trying to make it edgy on top of it. And it was like, no, that's not what it
already is
Yeah.
edgy, and it was written, what, 40 years ago?
40 years ago. Yeah.
Like,
No.
the fact that it can still be edgy and still be poignant today is amazing. I mean, just great work.
Yeah.
I was doing I was doing a community theater about 20 years ago, and I actually adapted and directed an adaptation of Monstrous Regiment. Do you guys ever read that one? It's the it takes place in Burogravia, which is one of the outer countries of Ankh-Morpork.
I don't think I've read it.
The whole premise is that this young girl, her brothers go off. The country's been embroiled in a war forever. Like it's always fighting with its neighbors. So her brothers go off to fight a war, and she's left at home, and there's no one. Like she hasn't heard from them. So she dresses up like a guy to break into the army, and she ends up in a platoon. And turns out the whole regiment are all girls pretending to be guys. Like all 9 or 10
That's amazing.
Right. So that they eventually solve the war and fix everything, because
Obviously they would.
Yeah, because that's how it works. But yeah, I adapted and directed an edition just because I loved the book so much and I wanted something that would give me a good cast. The difficult thing with adapting Terry Pratchett is there's so much good stuff. It's hard to know what to cut, and so much of it is it's cerebral. It's
not the words that they're saying. There's so much there's so much narration. There's so much.
It's the footnotes. It's the context behind everything. Yeah.
The reading the word that sounds a very specific way but looks so different.
That's true. Like, if you were just trying to think, there are words that Nanny says that if you weren't aware that she was going to misspell everything, like, and they say that throughout the book, that she's really bad at spelling and all that. But like, I'm thinking of one, like, she's saying metaphor, but she says metafort or something like that. But it's, and then she's like, talks about how it's like a metal fort or something like that. Like,
but he misspells the words.
Yeah.
Even when she's saying them correctly, he misspells them the way that she thinks they're spelled. Yeah. Which is a nice little device too. Yeah.
They sort of did that with the letter in the audio version. They were saying it how they were misspelled, basically.
Oh, okay.
So it was very entertaining to hear that.
Well, and that's obviously, like, Granny knows how to read, but she doesn't really hold with books that much. She reads her almanac while she's using her privy, and
it's just good for toilet paper. Yep.
But there are too many ideas in books. Like, we were flipping through the books earlier looking for the strata of the underwear line, and one, like, she didn't hold with promiscuous candlelight when it was all flickering everywhere and very up in your face.
So good.
It is. It's
So good.
Really amazing. Yeah.
And you know what? And I think that's the thing. It's not just that he's a funny writer; he's a good writer. You know, like he has Terry Pratchett had a wonderful grasp of the language, and it's just as much fun to read because of the words that he uses. You know, just the beauty of the language. Like he understands. You know, he could turn a beautiful phrase and then make you bust a gut, and then you're crying 3 pages later. Like every book is a gamut of emotions. You know. Yeah. God, he was so good.
Anybody else have anything? It's a really short book. I do want to mention that this book is. I mean, my copy, I think, is 200 pages, 230.
264 for the skinny one. Yeah.
Mine's 280 something, but it's also much smaller.
It's shorter. Yeah, mine is pretty tall.
Well, is that the official British or Canadian version? Because there's probably a lot of extra O's and stuff in words or U's that don't need to be there. So that would have made it longer.
Oh, that would, but mine's shorter actually.
Well, so. It's like my Alana's. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I tend to not notice if there are a couple extra U's in my words. Like it's not going to catch me up.
Throws me off every time.
Sorry.
When I write it. What is that? Yeah.
Color.
What is honor? I don't know what that is.
Why is there an hour in color?
Yeah. Learn English. Yeah.
Yeah. So mine's like 225. It's really short. It's very compact. Yeah. It's a very quick read, despite the fact that we've all been like crazy busy this month, which by the way, next month we're doing Trans Rights Readathon, which means that it will be the 1 year anniversary of our podcast.
Yeah, 1 year. Footnotes. Awesome. How about
that? We are going to read Gender Euphoria.
Okay.
And it's a book of essays, but then also people will also probably read other things that they can talk about, which is kind of what we did last year, where we all just read a bunch of stuff. Although, again, next month is going to be great.
Do we have any other plans coming up that might take up a lot of our time that be on the lookout for next couple of months?
Yeah,
we're hoping to have some big announcements in April that are going to take up a lot of time in March to set up. So
we also have this year, because last year Trans Rights Readathon was kind of put together very last minute by the internet, the TikTok community. This year we have a game that is written by a trans author with an all trans cast.
What?
That we're going to have called Himbos of Myth and Metal. And I'm really excited. I think, Lana, you're in the game?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I tried really hard. I know Rick was like, "Oh, are you going to be in it?" And I was like, "Not if I can help it. I don't want to be in it. I want to hopefully get all trans people." So I'm really excited. Anyway, but Gender Euphoria, it's a book of essays and it's edited by somebody, but I don't have my copy yet. So, but yeah, we'll put that in the Discord. If you want to read along with us, come join our Discord. We have games that we play that you can sign up for with indie TTRPG systems. Sometimes we share a lot of memes lately. What everybody has the spoons for is sharing TikToks.
We're all too tired to type words. Yeah. It's, I can't do that. I'll share a picture with you. That's about all I got right now. Yeah.
Life is very accurate. Life is very busy at this moment. And yes, hopefully in April, we're going to have a big news as a company. So, but thanks for joining us. And next month, Gender Euphoria. All right.